Hi, it's Marie Harris here from Modas Consultancy. I'm joined with a lovely lady today called Deborah Forsythe, who's actually specialises in helping women through the menopause. And she's going to be talking to us about that. She's part of the Modas Women's Business Forum. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Deborah Forsythe. Welcome, Deborah. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Maria. It's nice to be with you this morning. This is so exciting.
I know. So if you tell everybody, introduce yourself and exactly what you do and how you help people.
Okay, so hello everybody. Good morning. It's a miserable day here. Who knows where you are in the world? So I am the menopause consultant, and my passion is to help women understand what's happening during their menopausal stages, and then provide them with solutions, opportunities to find out more about their menopausal systems, what's actually happening with them, and then give them transformational courses that very often I've been told that what I'm providing will give back power to women who feel they have lost themselves personally, emotionally, physically, and in their relationships, all because of the cloud of that funny old word, menopause. So that's really what my core work is, what my life's work has come to at this point in time.
Wonderful. So yeah, I mean, there isn't a lot of support out there for menopausal women. It's just you go to the doctor and you're probably given HRT, or that's about it really. There's not much out there that we really fully understand, and we need to understand more.
No, yes, you're absolutely right. I mean, menopause is still very much a taboo word, whether it's in a private life or especially in a corporate situation. My background is in aesthetic medicine, and prior to that, I was in charge of the accident emergency department in Belfast during the traumas. So that situation was an amazing, grounding, humanitarian experience of how to deal with people in trauma. When I finished there, I moved to London. I went into plastic surgery and then into aesthetic medicine, which I've been specializing in for the last 30-odd years. So my clients were predominantly women like myself at that stage in mid to late 30s who'd had their children, were going back into work and wanted just little tweaks to make their external reflect their internal life experiences and their previous work experiences. So it was just, that coat of armor that makes you think, I can get this interview, I can get this job, just because I'm nearly a 40-year-old woman, don't write me off. Because that's how it was then, but actually it still is how it is at the moment. And what we currently know is the majority of executive professional women in that sort of age range, which is about 45 to 65, are going through it all themselves at this point in time. So as I was sitting with my patients then, they became more trusted in me because I'm doing the same as them. I'm going through menopause and children growing up and teenagers in school and stuff. They started sharing their experiences and concerns about what was happening to them on a physical, emotional, relationship level. And what we worked out together was actually, we were all going through the menopause, but they didn't know where to go. If you're working in the corporate environment, you walk in with your suit on, your makeup on, and you're tough and flighty, but inside you're thinking, I want to be sick, I didn't sleep more than 2 hours last night, I'm having a hot sweat, I'm wearing my pants, and I've got to pretend nothing's happening. And that in turn puts so much adrenal stress onto a body that's already stressed with the hormonal imbalance anyway. And yet, as you said earlier, there are very few places to go and talk to somebody and just say, please help me. I don't know what's happening with me. I don't know what to do about it. My mother had breast cancer. I've talked to my GP, and the first thing the GP will generally say is, do you think you're a bit depressed? Well, of course you're depressed because you're crying all the time. You don't know if you're Arthur or Martha. So then they'll, if you want to take your antidepressants, and you go back 2 years' time and say, oh, I'm hot, I'm cold, I hate my husband, my children getting my nerves, and say, shall we do some HRT? And if you haven't given it a second thought and you're in a pressurized situation, you'll say yes, because that was what we do.
Yeah.
So having talked to lots of ladies along that sort of journey with me, I realized that actually what I was to do in the future, which is what I'm doing, is to understand so much more about menopause so I can help all my patients and clients and the new ones that are coming to me and give them full full instruction information about what variety and wide range of symptoms and feelings they will have, in it to enable them to have all the information to make an informed decision for them personally, because no two women have the same symptoms ever, and no two journey is ever the same. So it's very much a personal, bespoke treatment plan.
So why is it that you want to help these women in this stage of their life so much?
Okay. Well, to be honest, despite being a medical professional, I knew very little about menopause when I was going through it. And it was still at the stage when I had my youngest son was about 4. And so I was looking after him, the other 3 at different schools, trying to business, stressing about, taking on loans for jewelry and stuff. And I found myself sitting in front of my desk in the mornings, having what I thought was a blush, which in actual fact turned out to be hot flushes, and it would start, I'll get this redness and just creep itself up my neck into my chin, and then like a torch in the middle of my back. And then I was talking to a lady in the office, and she said, "What is happening to you?" She said, "You looked like you just sat under a shower." And I thought, that's exactly, it's like how I feel. So I thought, this is ridiculous. And I then started doing some more research and realized that actually I had gone into pretty much premature menopause, boom, like that. So I went from, having David, and about 4 years later being in menopause, and thought, nobody has taught me anything about this. I delivered babies, I was a midwife, but nobody ever talks about what happens in menopause. We talk about children, puberty, sex, how to not get pregnant, but really menopause is geriatric puberty, but we don't talk about it. There's no education whatsoever. And my mother, God bless her, was useless. When it came to having periods, I thought I was dying. She'd never talked about it. And one day she said in the hallway, "Never mind, dear, it's just your body cleaning itself." That was it. End of conversation.
Yeah.
And yet I recognized, looking back, when she went into menopause, actually also early, because she had a heart attack when she was 40. And I didn't know anything about that. But afterwards I learned, because that was transformational for her, because she became very unpleasant to be living with. Her personality just changed enormously. And I now know, looking back and reflecting on that was her menopause experience. But there was no conversation about it. It was so taboo. And again, all the ladies that I've been seeing and talking about it have all said, "I wish I'd known. I wish somebody had told me. Nobody told me." And for me, that is a travesty. We can't avoid menopause. It is a natural part of our life. And for us not to know what to expect or how to help ourselves get ready for it is wrong. It's not going away. We need to just stand up and say, "I'm in menopause. I don't know what to do. Here I am. Come and help me."
And this is why I'm really excited about having you on today and having this interview, because we are more open, and we are talking about lots of different areas. We talk about our skin, we talk about vitamins, we talk about our hair, but we don't really talk about this massive problem that affects women for how many years? Probably 20 years, 30 years?
Well,
because the perimenopausal stage.
Yeah, I mean, most people stop perimenopause anything after about 45, 46, but that in itself could last for 10 years. Menopause itself is one day, and it's the one day that you realize that you haven't had a period for 12 months. The next day, you're postmenopausal.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that. People think menopause is just one group, name and title for it, but no, it's much more complex than that.
This is a real exciting opportunity for people, I think, because there isn't nowhere to go, and it's just a great opportunity. Yeah. So what are the problems mainly do menopausal women come to you for?
So the top 3 are always hot flushes, because that is very physically disturbing, daytime and night, and it's very visible to other people. So it's embarrassing. And just to go back to what you said earlier, a lot of why we don't talk about it is social media, and you are the older woman, and God forbid that we should actually say, yes, I am an older woman. I don't need to follow social media of a 19-year-old to be an influencer. We are the generation that should be the influencers, because we've lived the lives.
Yes.
But we're afraid to say, I am over 50. I have had a menopause. I have 4 kids. What do you think? I've got grandchildren as well. I'm happy to talk about it, because we've got to say it's not a shame to get older. It's a gift. So back to that. I forgot what you said.
That's a wonderful statement. That's a wonderful statement to say that that's a gift. No, it was the top 3 things that you wanted to say about menopausal women come to you. Yeah. And it's
so
hot flushing. Yeah.
Hot flushing, sleeplessness, exhaustion, and weight gain.
Yes.
Without changing a diet or a lifestyle. And it's always that weight gain around the midriff bulge area. So those are the top 2 things that will always rise above all the other things. Because if you don't sleep, you're permanently exhausted. And that changes how you think and feel. And it contributes to that forgetfulness and brain fog and weight gain as well. Because we have to sleep for all those things to sort of function properly during the day.
And your programs cover all of that. It encompasses that, because it's quite interlinked, isn't it, as well?
Completely, it's all interlinked, yes.
I'm glad that you brought up about corporate women as well, because they are expected to perform at quite a high level, and they do have a lot of responsibilities and duties. And you know, within the boardroom sort of situation scenario, they have to perform, do that presentation, and they might be feeling X, Y, and Z. So I think sometimes it's really important that companies are aware of what people are going through and understand that.
Yes. Yes. Well, one of the things I'm doing for corporate companies is providing educational lunches. I mean, prior to the current situation, we could go into a company and sit with female and the male members of the staff and do a question and answer session just to raise awareness. And then I'll talk to the HR departments, because I've had some of my ladies say they're so exhausted in the middle of the day, they're working in a very high profile business, that they take a towel or a scarf with them and go and hide in the toilet and have 20 minutes sleep in the toilet. So simple things that you know, businesses like that can do is provide fans for women within the offices. You know, so we're having a hot moment, let's turn the fan on. Make sure there's plenty of ventilation. Make sure that the female restrooms, to use the American term, have got extra deodorants and makeup and things that they can actually freshen themselves up with. And moving forward, the new buzzword is sleep pods. So, you know, the major corporations should be thinking about having female-friendly restrooms. So whether it's a sleep pod or just somewhere that they can go, be not disturbed for 20 or 30 minutes, just regenerate themselves, especially if they're not sleeping well at night. So
really pay off for them. Yeah, it would really pay off for a company, because it would make them retain their really good staff, and they're hard to find.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, we know that of the over 45s are the best staff for corporations, you know, at high-level executives to have, because they've had their children, they're fully committed to themselves and to their work. But if you've had a sleepless night and you miss a 0 from the end of the spreadsheet, it's a big problem.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and so, you know, going forward, as well as the personal one-to-one courses, I'm working with the corporates to say, you have a very intensively fabulous female staff level, but you need to look after them. And also what they need to understand, you cannot fire somebody for being menopausal.
No, of course not. Gosh, no.
So knowing that, then you have to provide the right environment for women who are going through the menopausal stage.
And get the best out of them as well.
Yeah.
And that's what will happen.
You know, if you keep people happy at work, they want to work better for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
for themselves. Just for a fact, that it's so true.
Yeah.
Also, you've got some different clients where you have men who are clients too, who, you know, why do they come to you? I can imagine why they do, but what's your experience of that?
Well, I have some men who are very loving still with their wives. They very much want to be with them and understand what's happening to their wives, because they'll come and say, who is she? This is not the girl I married. I don't understand her. One minute she wants me to buy her a handbag, the next she wants to put the handbag around my head. You know? So what do I do? Do I buy the bag and get hit with it? So, I mean, I think that's wonderful that men know very little about having babies or menopause and stuff. It's not come into their educational portfolio. So they want to know what's happening on a physical level, what's happening on a practical level, and what they can do to support their wives, which I think is just wonderful, because the more they understand, the more they will understand that she will want the Chanel handbag, but she'll also want to put it around you. the same time. And it's not something that she is actively planning to do. It's because her mood swings, because her hormones are out of balance, and she doesn't know what she wants. But what she does still want is to have that relationship with you at the same time as hating you. So
that's so important. You're changing people's lives and you're hopefully saving people's relationships. That's so important.
Yes.
So
it is,
important.
especially at that stage of life where, you know, most people are married 20, 25 years, give or take. But they're in that really difficult sandwich situation. You know, it all comes at that time. So they've had their children, the children are teenagers, mummy goes into menopause, and then they've got the elderly parents who are demanding more attention. So as well as all the physical things, she's got the emotional things of teenagers she hates and wants to leave and is still trying to look after, elderly parents who now need more time from her, and she has no time for herself or her husband, and it all is just way too much. So if they can work together as a couple, then the pillars of support for everything else that they have to do physically, emotionally and mentally are much stronger.
And with what you just said, do you think women have been affected during lockdown in this way as well?
100%. You know, I think, I mean, I like to think I'm pretty sane and normal most of the time, but it's the constant, it's a disruption to our normal routine. It's being with our partners 24/7, which we talked about. Whilst we love them madly, we're not designed to live so tightly close to them without any space. Children being at home, if you're also trying to homeschool children or even teenagers, then you're trying to do your job at the same time. So, you know, they're getting up in the morning, doing what they normally do, and still, you know, putting on t-shirts, turn up and do all the Zoom calls, etc. So they've got, it's even more pressurized for menopausal women because there's no step back. There's no time to step out of the routine of being at home, whether it's with family or business. So all of their emotions are being driven into that channel of adrenal fatigue with the physical elements as well. And the more cortisol that we have, all of us in times of stress will send even the best hormonal balance completely out of creation. So yes.
Plus they've been locked in with possibly hormonal teenagers that are changing.
Absolutely.
They're changing one way, and the menopausal woman is changing the other way.
I mean, it couldn't be worse.
Friction.
I mean, because yes, puberty is the sort of the growing of your progesterone and estrogen. And you remember how you felt then, pre-period, it was like, chocolate. So you have that going on one day, and then mum dropping off the other day and saying, oh, vodka, alcohol, wine, I hate you. It's just like, you can just feel the sparks going off each other. It's like, oh, I need a wine, nothing, and I need to borrow chocolate. I'm going to talk to my boyfriend. He hates me. He loves me. And the mummy's thinking, I hate you all. Difficult, very, very difficult.
Oh dear, that's funny. So, men and women are going to be watching this. So what's your message to people who are perimenopausal, they don't realise it perhaps, or going into the menopause, and also the men of those people as well?
Well, I would like to reach out to them and say, I would love to help you. I am offering everybody who's watching this today a 30-minute complimentary consultation just to talk. You just need to contact me at themenopausalconsultant.com, or we'll talk about other ways later. But don't sit at home worrying and fretting about how you're feeling, or not even knowing how you're feeling, or do you want to stab somebody, or do you want to run to the nearest Caribbean island? Just get in touch, because it really does help to talk. I can't remember what that BT ad was, but just talking about something that's very private and personal to you with somebody like me really will help. And I would be able to help you at the very simplest level by getting you to understand where you currently are and taking back control for yourself to sort of just put in the parameters that you need for you at this time. So
great.
Men, women, teenagers, whatever you need to do, just reach out and talk.
Absolutely. That's such a generous offer, Deborah. So that's brilliant, and people should take advantage of that. So how can people get hold of you if they want to get hold of you straight away? How do people get hold of you?
Well, you can email me on themenopauseconsultant.com, and then on social media, which is Deborah the Menopause Consultant, and Instagram, which is @the Menopause Consultant. So any of those lines of communication are completely open to you. I'd love you all to take up that opportunity anyway, because every month we have a newsletter that comes out, and it's full of wonderful facts and fiction and information about menopause. Also the interviews with people that I've previously done who have brought masses of information about what they're doing in relation to menopause and menopausal women, which is really great. And we give lots of health tips, and we do a question and answer session on that as well. So if you'd like to get the newsletter, it's free. We just need you to get in touch with us, and then we can get your email and get it.
Yeah, and what I could do, I could put that link in on the comments so people can get hold of that, and they can subscribe to that as well.
Yeah,
I'd also like to put a link to your business page on Facebook or your group as well, so people can join your group, so they can have that information. So
yes,
thank you.
Sorry, because every day we have lots of different articles coming on giving. There's so much to know, so every day there's something different about menopause, how it may affect you, how it might not. But just jump on and join us, and for nothing else, you get some education.
I also wanted to mention about the natural HRT. Because there's lots of controversy around the HRT. We've just mentioned it in terms of when you go to the doctors, you're given that. But there's also a very natural way where they can get hold of HRT that's very similar. How does that work?
So what you're actually talking about are bioidentical hormones. So let me put this into two contexts. HRT is a term that means hormone replacement therapy. There are many ways you can get hormone replacement therapy. And we as women do need to have a support of hormones for us in our aging process, not only just at the menopausal stage. So HRT that you will get in a form which is called Premarin, very briefly I'll mention that if you're going to go down that route, just research where it comes from, because what we understand, it actually comes from urines, pregnant mare's urine horses, and that's what the name is, pregnant mare's urine. So that may or may not appeal to you. The other options, and there are many options, but there is the option of what's called the bioidentical hormones. So those are hormones that are synthetically made from a wild yam from Mexico. Now, what we know as women, scientifically, is the wild yam provides estrogens and phytoestrogens that are complementary and sympathetic with our bodies. So to get those prescribed, you'd have to see somebody like me who I specialized with Marion Gluck, which is a famous menopausal academy in London. So we have been taught and educated how to diagnose menopausal women, and then put them through a series of blood tests or urine tests to actually get the full build up of the picture of what their deficiencies are. And from that, we can then diagnose exactly what to give you, the individual person, to help you on your journey. Now, like everything else, as we go through that period of menopause, it will change. So we keep in regular contact every 3 to 4 months to find out, is it still working for you? Do we need to tweak it a little bit to give you the best quality of life at this period of time? So they're very...
Do they come in form of tablets, or how does it work?
You can get them in, it depends on what you need to have. You can have tablets, you can have gel, you can have lozenges, you can have pessaries, depending what you're actually trying to treat. So it's a really very good. And also, I have a skin range for menopausal women that, depending again on their blood results. So as we get older, we lose a lot of collagen and elastin in our skin tissue, particularly on the face and other bits of the body. But we have got creams with bioidentical hormones in those that will help replenish what you're losing. And it is, again, a bespoke treatment.
Wonderful. Gosh, that's great. And it's nice to know that we can go somewhere else and it's completely natural, because so many people have this hang up with HRT about breast cancer. There's been lots of research about things like that. So this is a very natural way, which is really exciting. So Deb, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been wonderful to talk to you, very insightful. And I'm going to add up all those links in the comments wherever I share them. I wish you all the best going forward, and please take advantage of this lovely opportunity that Deb's giving, this consultation, 30 minutes free of charge, because that's going to be probably life-changing to you. So once again, thank you, Deb, and I will
Thank you, Maria, for inviting me. It's been lovely talking to you.
and you. Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.